He knows you, he knows you, he loves you, he loves you. God is listening, listening, listening. God knows every word before you even say it. He hears every prayer before you even pray. So let him hear you now. Let him hear you shout. He knows you, he knows you, he loves you, he loves you. God is listening, listening, listening. He knows you, he knows you, he loves you, he loves you. God is listening, listening, listening. God knows every word before you even say it. He hears every prayer before you even pray. So let him hear you now. Let him hear you shout. He knows you, he knows you, he loves you, he loves you. God is listening, listening, listening. He knows you, he knows you, he loves you, he loves you. God is listening, listening, listening. He knows you, oh, he knows you, he loves you, yeah, he loves you. God is listening, God is listening, he knows you, oh, he knows you, he loves you, oh, he loves you. God is listening, God is listening, listening, listening. God is listening, listening. God is listening.
All month long, we're putting our knowledge to the test. Knowledge is learning something new so you can be better at whatever you do. There's so much knowledge out there for us to discover. All knowledge comes from God to begin with, and God made us curious so that we could find out and know more and more. That's why our memory verse for this month is Proverbs 2:6. The Lord gives wisdom. Knowledge and understanding come from his mouth. Proverbs 2:6. The Lord. So you're going to do your L sash. The Lord gives. So use your hand to hold an invisible plate and then pass it to someone. The Lord gives wisdom. Okay, so make a finger hook and tap down in front of your forehead twice. Wisdom. So that's our first piece. Let's put it all together. The Lord gives wisdom. Here's the next part. Knowledge. Cup your hand and tap your temple. Knowledge. And understanding. So you're going to use this hand to flick on that light bulb. So knowledge and understanding come from, so you're going to use two hands to beckon someone towards you. Come from his mouth. So just make a circle around your mouth. There it is, part 2. Knowledge and understanding come from his mouth. And all of that is found in Proverbs 2:6. Now let's put it all together, nice and slow. The Lord gives wisdom. Knowledge and understanding come from his mouth. Proverbs 2:6. That's right. It's so good to know that we can trust God through any challenge that we might face. We can put our faith in God and ask God to give us the knowledge and wisdom we need every day. We can trust God over and over and over again. Let's sing one more song together about trusting God.
Wherever we go, Lord, you are good. Can't hold me back now, I'm gonna fly. Wherever we go, Lord, you are good. Walk through the valley, climb mountains high. Wherever we go, Lord, you are good. Can't hold me back now, I'm gonna fly. Wherever we go, Lord, you are good. I wanna live each day like anything can happen. Can't hardly wait to see what's next. I wanna face this world with wonder and excitement. Face every challenge every day. Lead me, I'm gonna follow. I'm trusting you, God. You are good. Life will be crazy, wild and amazing. I'm trusting you, God. You are good. Wherever you lead me, I'm gonna follow. I'm trusting you, God. You are good. Life will be crazy, wild and amazing. I'm trusting you, God. You are good. I'm trusting you, God. You are good. I'm trusting you, God. You are good.
For a few months, we've been making our way through the Bible, God's big story, following along with God's plan. We started by learning how God made the world, and it was good. But when people turned away from God, the world was broken. Thankfully, God had a plan to make things right. At the right time, God sent Jesus to be born in Bethlehem. But Jesus didn't stay a little baby. Just like you, he started to grow, which is where our story picks up today in the book of Luke. Now, since this whole month is about knowledge, I'm going to put your knowledge to the test today. I'm going to ask some trivia questions, and I want you to shout out what you think the right answer is. So, like I said, our lesson today picks up in the book of Luke. Now, every year, Jesus and his family joined other Jewish people who went on a special trip. But where did they go? Did they go to A, Bethlehem, B, Jerusalem, or C, Orlando? That's right, Jerusalem. Every year, Jesus and his family joined other Jewish families who traveled all the way to Jerusalem to celebrate the Passover feast. This particular trip happened when Jesus was around 12 years old. The trip would have taken at least 4 or 5 days. Think about it. With no car and no bus, that was nearly a week of walking. All day, every day. But it was a special time too. Jesus was able to run and play with other kids during the trip, and they all camped out under the stars. At last, Jesus and his family reached the city, along with thousands of others. They probably stayed with family or friends to celebrate for the whole week. And they did something special at the end of their visit. Did they A, throw a birthday party for Jesus? B, go on a night hike to look at the constellations? Or C, share a special meal? Yeah, on the last evening, they shared a special meal together. They did more than eat, though. They remembered and retold the story of how God had rescued the Israelites, his chosen people, from slavery in Egypt. The next morning, Jesus' family packed up and joined the crowds flowing back out of Jerusalem. Jesus would have known when they were leaving, and his parents probably expected that he would travel with the group and join them when they stopped to camp. What do you think happened next? Did Jesus A, catch up with his parents later, B, run ahead of them to the campsite, or C, not show up at all? You know what? That's right. At the end of the travel day, Jesus did not turn up as they expected. Mary and Joseph hurried through the camp, checking with all of their family and friends. They realized that somehow Jesus had been left behind in Jerusalem. What did they do next? Did Mary and Joseph A, go back to Jerusalem, B, call 911, or C, send carrier pigeons to Jerusalem to tell Jesus to come home? You're right, Mary and Joseph went back to Jerusalem. That trip must have seemed endless. Mary and Joseph were already exhausted, and their imaginations were probably working overtime. When Mary and Joseph reached Jerusalem, again, they searched everywhere for Jesus. Mary and Joseph looked all around the city for 3 whole days. And finally, they found their son Jesus. Where was he? Was Jesus A, at the swimming pool, B, at the temple, or C, at the soccer field? Right, Mary and Joseph found Jesus at the temple. Now, that's not where most people would expect to find a 12-year-old boy. But when Mary and Joseph hurried to the temple courtyard, they saw Jesus sitting with a group of teachers, listening and asking questions. The teachers were all amazed at how much Jesus understood and at the wise answers he gave to their questions. Mary said to Jesus, "Son, why have you treated us like this? Your father and I have been worried about you. We have been looking for you everywhere." "Why were you looking for me?" Jesus asked. "Didn't you know I had to be in my Father's house?" What did Jesus and his parents do next? Did they A, go home, B, go get some dinner, or C, stick around to tell jokes with the teachers? That's right. Jesus returned home to Nazareth with his parents. He loved them deeply and obeyed them, and Mary kept everything that had happened in her heart like a secret treasure. That's it for questions. Nice job, everyone. Listen to what happened after this as Jesus grew up. We can read about it in Luke chapter 2, verse 52. Jesus became wiser and stronger. He also became more and more pleasing to God and to people. Jesus knew that listening to God and learning more about God was the very most important thing that he could do. And the same thing is true for us as well. Knowing God is the most important thing. Say that with me. Knowing God is the most important thing. As we think about this week's lesson, we can see why Jesus stayed behind at the temple. He stayed so he could learn about God and talk to other people about God. And it's important for us to do those things too. If you think about it, it's pretty amazing that we get to know God personally. I mean, God, the creator of the universe, wants to have a relationship with each of us. Wow. Knowing God is the most important thing. Exactly. We should take time to get to know God better. Maybe you could start your day by reading scripture and reading a devotional or listening to some worship music that reminds you of everything God has done for you. Maybe you're someone who learns best when you're talking to others. It's important that we come to church so that we can talk to other people about God, because we can learn a lot from friends and leaders who choose to put God first in their lives. Knowing God is the most important thing. For me, I learn best reading the Bible than talking to other people and asking questions to do my best to understand. Knowing God is the most important thing. No matter how you get to know God better, take some time out of your day to do it. It is so important. So let's head up to small group now and talk about how we can get to know God better. Have a great week.